creating custom Pokemon for you! Welcome back, everyone, to the show where we select lucky commenters to spin a series of random wheels that give us factors for a Pokemon that we then create just for you. It's gonna be an awesome episode today, y'all. We're gonna make 3 amazing custom Pokemon as always, so if you end up liking today's video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you want a custom Pokemon for yourself, don't forget to leave a comment because I'll be randomly selecting people from this video's comments for the next episode. But without further ado, let's get into the first Pokemon! And this one will be for Sir Finn, who says that this is their favorite YouTube series. Thanks so much! So alright, Finn, let's start by getting the power level of your Pokemon, and you are going to be regular.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Now let's see how many times your Pokemon can evolve, and you are going to get 1, which makes you a 2-stage evolution line. Now let's see what typing your Pokemon's going to be. Your first type is going to be the Bug type. That is actually one of my favorite types to make in the show, and Bug Psychic type. Cool! And the last step, before we see which Pokemon looks like, let's see if it has an X Factor, and you do a signature ability for the first Pokemon of the day. That's Hush! There is no war in Ba Sing Se. The first stage of your Pokemon is Telemite, the Earthbender Pokemon. These Pokemon are inspired by termites. And just like those tiny home wreckers, Telemite is completely blind. And while you think this would make the Pokemon very weak and vulnerable, that could not be further from the truth. Because it's trained its psychic ability to channel telekinetic energy through the earth around it, allowing it to detect when other Pokemon are within range by sensing their presence on the ground. And if you couldn't tell, this ability is inspired by Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender, who just like Telemite is blind but can still sense what's around them by using their earthbending to sense vibrations in the ground. And speaking of earthbending, Telemite can do a little bit of that as well, as it's known to channel its earthy telekinesis to pick up and throw smaller rocks towards foes, pelting them with pebbles. Upon reaching level 37 while knowing the move Earthquake, it would evolve into Terramite. These mighty tectonic termite terrors have greatly increased their earthbending ability, now seamlessly swirling rocky slabs around its body to intercept incoming attacks, before launching the heaps of earthy debris at the opponent, crushing them under its pure weight. And hey, if you just so happen to be a rock or ground type Pokemon and come across a Terramite, just trust me on this one, you're gonna want to walk away. Because unless you want to be turned into a projectile, Terramite is not the one to mess with. And it's this Pokemon's earthbending prowess which is reflected in its signature ability, Territory. An ability that actually has 2 effects. The first one being that it lowers the power of rock and ground type moves, which helps Terramite avoid what would otherwise be a weakness. And the second part of the ability is actually very interesting, because it states when Terramite uses a psychic type move while the opponent has stealth rocks set up on your side of the field, then Terramite will push them over to the opponent's side, getting rid of an entry hazard for your team, while simultaneously punishing the opponent for daring to not spam attacking moves. In terms of stats, Terramite has very good defenses as well as pretty solid special attack. And for the shiny, I went with this white and light blue color. But now let's get into the second Pokemon. But before we do that, let's change it up a bit. So I was recently challenged by one of my favorite mobile games to make a brand new character for their game. So I'm going to be spinning wheels to make a brand new champion for today's video partner, Raid Shadow Legend. So let's start by spinning this wheel to see what faction this new champion will be a part of, and it's the Skinwalker. So the Skinwalkers are a faction of humanoid animals like Fane, which is an epic rarity champion that you can get for yourself right now with Raid's new limited time starter pack. And this starter pack not only includes Fane, but it also includes 2 other epic rarity champions and 1 legendary rarity champion named Karato. You can get the starter pack by using the link in my description or pinned comment to download Raid. And look, y'all, we're all Pokemon fans. We love collecting awesome creatures, so I know as soon as you get your hands on Raid, you're going to want to collect all of their awesome champions. So not only is the starter pack a great way to get started on that journey, but Raid even said if enough people use my link, they might put the champion that we're making right now into the game for real. Alright, so we know the champion is part of the Skinwalkers, but now let's see what role the champion will be, and it is an attack role, which means it'll be focused on dealing damage. And now let's spin this wheel to see what type of affinity the champion will be, and it is the Force affinity, which means that it'll focus on physical weapon attack. Introducing the champion Norga, a once simple octopus that due to a dark magic ritual is now cursed to walk on land in a humanoid form. And it channels the anger it feels from being ripped from its home into its devastating trident swing. And if you thought that champion was cool, make sure to use the link in my description or pinned comment to download Raid, because again, if enough people do, they might put it in the game for real. But now let's get right back into it. And today's second Pokemon will be for Vincent Armentrout, who says that this series got them back into Pokemon, and I absolutely love to see comments like this. It always makes my day. So alright Vincent, let's start by getting the power level of your Pokemon, and you are going to be a Convergent Evolution. Cool. And it means that now we have to spin this wheel to see what generation of Pokemon will be making a Convergent for, and it's Gen 8. In my opinion, that is a super slept on generation, so I'm excited to make a Pokemon from it. And of course, now we'll spin this wheel that has every single Gen 8 Pokemon on it, and we got Draclo. That is absolutely awesome because it means we're making a Convergent Dragapult line. And Dragapult is one of the coolest pseudo-legendaries of all time, so this is epic. But now we have to see what new typing we'll be giving to this Convergent Dragapult. Your first type is actually None, which means whatever this next type is, it'll be your only type, and it's the Water type. And the last step, before we see which Pokemon looks like, let's see if it has an X Factor, and you do, a Mega Evolution. That is easily my favorite X Factor. This Pokemon was already cool enough, but it just got even cooler. It's hammer time! The first stage of your Pokemon is Dribbly, the Glowfin Pokemon! While the original Dreepy has more of an amphibian design, we decided that its unique head shape could be enlarged to resemble a hammerhead shark. And on this Pokemon's hammer-shaped head are two glowing lights, which it uses to navigate through nighttime water. And while this is pretty useful, it also has the severe downside of making it very easy to spot for nocturnal ocean hunters, leading to this Pokemon having very low survival rate. At level 50, it would evolve into Draleach. This Pokemon has established a symbiotic relationship with the Pokemon Remoraid, making it similar to Mantine. Because just like Mantine, Remoraid follows Draleach around to feed on its leftover food. However, unlike Mantine, Draleach doesn't just let Remoraid eat for free, as the two are known to hunt together, with Draleach using its elite swimming speed to track down enemies and avoid attacks, while Remoraid fires blasts of water from on top of its head, making for an unexpected but surprisingly deadly duo. And while Dracloak also keeps a Pokemon on top of its head, the relationships are quite different. As according to the Pokedex, Dracloak keeps its pre-evolution Dreepy on top of its head in order to train it and encourage it to evolve. However, because Dribbly are so few and far between thanks to their measly survival rate, Draleachs just don't have time to train them and instead choose to team up with a Pokemon that can help it survive in the unforgiving ocean. At level 60, it would evolve into Hydropole. These underwater sharpshooters have now established a bond with two Remoraid, giving it twice the firepower and allowing it to challenge even the ocean's scariest monster. And while Hydropole does have two Remoraid, it will always have one of the two that it considers its favorite, giving it additional portions of food after a successful hunt. And this is not done without reason, as it encourages fierce competition between the two Remoraid to try harder in battles as they struggle against each other to win the approval of this manipulative marksman. When exposed to Hydroite, it would evolve into Mega Hydropole. Upon Mega Evolution, the Remoraid that surrounded Hydropole are exposed to so much raw energy that they temporarily evolve into Octillery. And while the additional weight of lugging around 3 octopi does slow Hydropole down quite a bit as it strains itself to swim, it's well worth it because it now essentially has the firepower of 4 fully evolved Pokemon. Like, I don't care how defensive you are, there's no way you're surviving 4 simultaneous Hydro Pumps. In terms of stats, Mega Hydropult has absolutely insane special attack, but its speed is pretty bad. Which, interestingly enough, is quite the opposite in its regular form because it has pretty solid physical attack and bad special attack, in addition to being incredibly fast. And for the shiny, I went with this darker gray color as a reference to real-life Hammerhead Sharks. But now let's get into the third Pokemon. But before we get into the final Pokemon, it's time for the Member Modifier. This is the segment of the show where we take a fan-favorite Pokemon from a previous episode in the series and give it a brand new upgrade. In the last episode, we gave Rattato a very creepy-looking corrupted form, but in today's segment, we'll be giving a brand new evolution to Telemite. Telemite was a super popular Pokemon from episode 30 because it has a split evolution based off RPG classes as well as the elemental evolution stone. For instance, if you give it a Fire Stone, it'll evolve into Telemite. If you give it a Water Stone, it'll evolve into Set a Monk, and a Leaf Stone will give said Druid. But there had to be at least 1,000 comments in the last episode begging for more evolutions for this thing, so I had my channel members vote on an evolutionary stone to base the new evolution on. And the options were the Sunstone, the Moonstone, and the Thunderstone. And the winner was the Moonstone, which when placed on the hole in Setamite's chest will cause it to evolve into Setero. This obsidian assassin only attacks in the middle of the night, where its dark stone body blends in seamlessly with the lack of light. And when it gets close enough to strike, it'll use its 2 crescent moon-shaped bladed hands to slice directly through the opponent's weak points and ending the battle in a matter of seconds. Huge thank you to all my channel members. I hope you liked Setamite's new evolution. And if you want to become a channel member yourself and help us vote on the next Setamite evolution, then you can look into that by hitting the join button down below. But now let's get right back into it. And this one will be for Frost Craftian, who says that my videos helped him with a 6-hour layover. And that sounds absolutely horrible, so I'm glad I could help. But anyways, Frost, let's start by getting the power level of your Pokemon, and you are going to be regular.
There is still nothing wrong with that.
Now let's see how many times your Pokemon can evolve, and you are once again going to get 1, so we have another 2-stage evolution line. Now let's see what typing your Pokemon's going to be. Your first type is the normal type. I feel like that is a very overhated type. I like making normal types. And normal rock type, that isn't the strongest type combination ever, but it's definitely interesting. And the last step, before we see which Pokemon looks like, let's see if it has an X Factor and another Mega Evolution. That is absolutely insane. We have 2 Mega Evolutions in the same video. I'm not complaining, but that is wild. This next Pokemon is a very solid choice. Your Pokemon is Pep-Pop, the Pet Rock Pet Pokemon. These Pokemon are almost completely immobile due to the fact that they are quite literally just a rock. And their only real method of getting around is by making small stiff hops, or occasionally rolling on their side if they're lucky enough to find a downhill surface. But surprisingly, this makes Pep-Pop a very popular pet, as their owners never have to worry about them running away, and they're also excellent at tricks, with their specialties being stay and sit. Now, I know it's a bit odd for a dog Pokemon to be normal rock type, but I actually thought it was the perfect fit for a Pokemon based off a pet rock, with pet rocks being a humorous product from the 70s, which were literally just regular rocks marketed as low-maintenance pets. Upon reaching level 20, it would evolve into Rockweil. If you couldn't tell by the name, Rockweil is based on a Rottweiler, and just like real-life Rottweilers, Rockweil is now fast, strong, and highly athletic, as despite its heavy weight, it's powerful enough to move around the battlefield as if it were as light as a feather. And you've probably noticed the large rocky protrusions around its neck, which are a row of stalagmites that serve the same purpose as a spiked collar. Because in battle, if an enemy aims for Rockweil's vulnerable neck, they'll be met with a spiky surprise. When exposed to Wildlight, it would evolve into Mega Rockweil. Upon Mega Evolution, Rockweil becomes a rock fire type, getting rid of its 4 times weakness to the fighting type, but ironically gaining 2 new 4 times weaknesses to the water and ground type. But don't worry, Rockweil couldn't care less about defense, as its once protective stone collar has now become a volcanic funnel, which it uses to amplify the molten lava which is constantly drooling from its mouth. However, just like all Mega Evolutions, this form isn't exactly enjoyable for Rockweil, because the funnel around its neck is shaped just like a dog cone and has all the same downsides, preventing Rockweil from interacting with others or even scratching its annoying itches. So is it a powerhouse? Absolutely, but a comfortable one? Not even close. In terms of stats, Mega Rockweil has really good special attack, but its defenses are pretty bad. But let's be honest, when you're fire rock type, your defenses don't really matter. And what makes this interesting is regular Rockweil actually has really good defenses, but its offenses are just okay. And for the shiny, I went with this light pink color because I thought it'd be a funny juxtaposition with its intimidating design. But that's gonna do it for today's episode, y'all. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe before you go. And if you want to watch more episodes of the Custom Pokemon series, there's a bunch in this playlist. I'm gonna get right back to making some awesome custom Pokemon for you, so I'll see you in the next episode. But until then, peace.